So Ramesh Sakala is the Director of Engineering for Akana, here to talk about work-life balance in high-tech companies and telecommuting.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is, I hope everyone can hear me. This is my first time talking to this big auditorium, though there are many chairs not occupied. So thank you for attending. My job today is to kind of explain the high-tech industry and the jobs in high-tech industry and see if you are interested, if you are on the borderlines, maybe try to generate some interest in you. And the pros and cons, or any questions you may have that I could know. I have started in the information technology industry in '95, so that's around 20 years ago. So I'm doing fine, so I'm sure anyone that chooses this industry will be just fine as well. Okay, so talk about so information technology industry or high-tech industry is like any other engineering. As you can see, engineering in general is defined as something that solves people's problems. As you can see, there are software engineers, structural engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers. They all solve problems related to a different industry or different problem, different sector. Structural engineers, design bridges, and chemical engineers, they find new foods, and civil engineers, work on the buildings, etc. The software engineers, for instance, design computer systems, computer programs. So the software engineering is part of the engineering field, and these are all the high-tech sectors that you can think of these days, aerospace, automotive, artificial intelligence, biotechnology. As you can see, there is computer engineering, computer science, information technology. Those are all, parts of engineering that, they come under the classification of high-tech industry. So as this program is organized by your computer programming teachers, I thought we'd talk about information technology industry specifically. So information technology industry jobs are, they're not specific, or they're not only found in specific companies. Information technology is needed for any company, whether it's a high-tech company or a low-tech company. You can find jobs there. As you can see, Nike just sells shoes, or the apparel. There are thousands and thousands of people working in the IT side of Nike. So you can find these jobs in any company. Financial companies hire tens of thousands of IT employees. And the job growth is very high when compared to any other industry in high-tech industry. You can see the list of different cities where the growth, information technology growth is very high. You can see Portland is there as well in number 12. Again, I've taken these screenshots from different sites on the web. So you can see San Francisco is at the top, and that's what is also measured based on the rent, office rent, that is a double-digit growth in office space rent. San Francisco, Austin, New York, Silicon Valley, Chicago, Seattle, Raleigh, Boston. So Portland is there as well. So, I'm sure wherever you go to college to study, you can find something, companies that work, that have jobs in IT industry. This is the way software jobs growth has happened in the last 20 years. Actually, this is 3-4 years old data. You can see in '90s, there are 400,000 employees working in the industry, but when it came to 2011, there are 1.6 million people working in that industry. And the projected growth, maybe not at the rate of the last 20 years, but still much higher than other industries. You can see the all industries projected to grow like 3% per year. Whereas in general, technical services, 4% per year, but the computer systems design industry is projected to grow, 6% per year. So the industry growth is much higher as well. So there is an expectation that the jobs will be found when you graduate from the college, if you pick that. And this is like this information is all from Bureau of Labor Statistics, so it's published by the government. You can see there are different professions in the computer software and the employment, how it was in 2010, what is it projected to be for 2020, and what's the median annual average, So I'll show another a spreadsheet that has different industries and the median pay. You can see the information technology or the high-tech industry salaries are right below the doctors and the medicine field. All other fields, the average salary is lower than that. I'll show that as well. So this is like the programming jobs, like, if you are a geek love to work on programming, this is the geek programming job. You need a bachelor's degree in general, but you can make good money, comfortable lifestyle if you choose to work in information technology industry. And let's look at this. One second, I was saying about this. This is the statistics from 2014, again, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let's see, this is the column that I'm sorting would be, annual median salary, for example, right? So you can see the list of professions, if you're able to see, so the computer systems, the information technology field starts at 36. You can see all of these most of these are in the medical industry, really. Anesthesiologists, surgeons, all the medical industry, and the only one I think is the chief executives and lawyers. Other than that, the computer systems, information technology, and in general high-tech industry stands at the top. You can see the ones that I've highlighted are the high-tech industry jobs or information technology jobs in general. And you can see that this document has totally how many professions, 1,400 professions, and all the information technology jobs you can find in the top 200. So there is a good amount, annual salaries are average very high. And again, this is the average. If you're good at that, you can get a lot more, because if I sort with the, taking the standard deviation and take the 75% or so, you can see the salaries are even higher. You can see right here, there is 161,000 for the top 25% of the people working in that specific field. So there is a lot of money to be made if you're interested in this particular profession as such. So let's go back to this presentation. Obviously, technology is reinventing the society, and I don't need to tell these days, obviously students use more and more technology than other grown-ups. This is, you can be part of the society that is, being reinvented by choosing a profession in technology industry. As you can see, this data is from a little older, maybe a couple of years before article published a couple of years ago. So, robotics, smartphones, wearable fitness trackers, Google Glass, not a successful project, but still it did show things that could be done. Self-driving cars, being experimented now. 3D printing, going to change the manufacturing in a big way, nanofiltration, in Africa, especially the water filtration. The pure water is a big problem. The nanofiltration is hopeful that it will change that. So technology is reinventing the society. I'm sure you can check yourself, what you do from morning to evening with technology. If you look at the list of companies that are in the technology industry, many of them are cash-rich companies. I had another slide that I didn't bring here. If we sort the organizations that have most cash, some companies are over the countries, governments of the countries, in the amount of cash that they hold. And they invest all that, so there is a lot of job growth. You can see in the top 10 companies that have the most cash in top 10, information technology companies are 4 out of 10. So does information technology jobs require computer software being major? It will help a great deal. I personally don't have a software degree major. I did major in electronics and communications. Not much different, but still, I know many of the people that do not have anything to do with the computers in their graduation or undergraduation are flourishing just fine in the information technology. But it helps a lot, at least for the entry. So here, let's watch a video that talks about what is needed for the information technology industry to find jobs in information technology industry. Just for, I think it is a 2-minute video. I'm sure some of the seniors here are looking at this website, as they see.
Software bug, anticipating the actions of a computer's user, or developing the latest version of a web browser or word processing program, computer software engineers solve problems. They imagine and create the computer programs that power our lives. A bachelor's degree in computer science or a related discipline is required for most of the entry-level positions in this field. Computer software engineers help to design, code, test, and analyze computer programs. The process to develop new pieces of software, from business productivity programs to video games, begins with an understanding of the program's intended use. After analyzing the habits of a program's users and their needs, software engineers brainstorm the program's features and overall design. The program is then coded using a programming language that computers can understand. Most computer software engineers are proficient in Java, C, and other languages. Completed programs are tested for quality and then revised and tested again. Only after thorough testing are programs delivered to their final users. To work efficiently, computer software engineers are often split into teams, each focusing on a particular aspect of a program's development or a specific task. Excellent communication skills and the ability to work in a team environment are a must. The ability to think outside the box and develop unorthodox solutions to challenging problems is also encouraged. Most employers prefer to hire software engineers who hold at least a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree programs in computer science and software engineering offer an in-depth study of mathematics, computer architecture and design, logic, and computer programming fundamentals. A master's degree may be required for project management and other advanced positions. Software engineers must also stay current with industry trends and new technologies, making continuing education an important aspect. Certifications focusing on the use of specific hardware and software platforms are offered by some companies, including Novell, Microsoft, and Sun Microsystems. These and other qualifications can increase career options and help software engineers to remain abreast of changes in technology, but are not required for most positions. Most software engineers will work to develop more traditional computer programs, like those that are run on personal computers in homes and offices. Cell phones and music players also require computer software engineers to design programs. Systems engineers develop the operating systems that allow computers to run other programs. The video game industry also offers exciting opportunities to software engineers interested in entertainment and cutting-edge technologies. Software engineers who have experience in all aspects of program development often have the opportunity to pursue project management positions. Project managers oversee the development process, ensuring that deadlines and budgets are met and that development teams work with each other to reach their final goals. Project managers are often required to hold a master's degree in computer science or a related field.
Yes, you can make probably that this video is a little old because out of the three companies that lady referred to, two are not in existence right now. Sun Microsystems bought by Oracle, and Novell, I don't know what happened to that company, but it's not really as famous as it used to be. But everything else you said is true. We'll see what happened to Sun Microsystems, really. If the industry is flourishing so much, why did Sun Microsystems not there? Why did the company disappear? Or why did Novell disappear from the radar? So let's look at what happens in the information technology industry. So in the information technology industry, just like it is changing the society, the industry itself is going through drastic changes, and for good, every few years. In this industry, if you find a profession in this industry, learning never stops. Every few years, the job requires different skills, and people have to keep up in there. As you can see, there is a small chart about the disruptive innovation and sustaining innovation. Disruptive innovation happens a lot in technology industry, where to do the same thing, there is completely new way to do the same problem, to solve the same problem as we have. If you need to communicate with somebody remote, we used to write mails, letters. We don't do that anymore. We send emails, and then nowadays we don't send emails too. We send text messages, or we send instant messages, and probably we're sending video chats these days too. So the companies, when there's disruptive innovation, the companies disappear. Some companies adopt to the changes, other companies don't. Same way, the people have to adopt to the changes, learn the new skills needed. Sometimes me be the driver, sometimes early, sometimes late, but adopt to the change. As you can see, examples of disruptive innovation. There used to be supercomputers, and IBM was great at that time, but personal computers came in, Microsoft and Intel ruled the world, and IBM took the back seat. Again, IBM is still there because they were able to reinvent and find other fields that they could excel at. Then came the smartphones and tablets, and Apple and Samsung are ruling the world, and Microsoft and Intel are taking the back seat. Sometimes they reinvent themselves and flourish again. Other times they disappear. There are many companies that disappeared. You can see the large companies, Then we have this on-demand video. Blockbuster, if you have heard of video rental a while ago, probably you haven't seen Blockbuster video rental. They used to be there on every street. And the on-demand video and Netflix DVD rental came in, they disappeared. So then we have, like, every time you need Word, you buy Office, Microsoft Office. That's what used to be. Now Google Docs came, and Microsoft Office it's suffering. It's not suffering in the sense, it's not to a point of going out of the visibility, but it's not growing as much. But over time, if they don't reinvent, they would disappear. So same way, even people have to adapt to the changes, learn the new skills, keep up with the industry development, and not become a history in the field. So how do you keep up? Again, this is a sustaining innovation example where The company will still remain, the people are the same people working, but there is an incremental growth. So that's the example between sustaining innovation and disruptive innovation. In a disruptive innovation, you can see, if you took this chart like 10 years ago, PCs would have been the whole spectrum. But now you can see smartphones and tablets rule the world, and PC shipments are much lower than the smartphone and tablets. So again, to program the software for smartphone and tablets need different skills than to program for PCs. So how do you keep up? You keep up by learning how to learn, not actually only learn the current skill. So if you're going to Java class, not only learn the Java, but also learn how to learn a different language like Java or something different from Java. Stay in touch with the industry developments, forums, meetups. These days we don't need to tell the kids, they know where to get the information, but direct your interest in the right channel. Look out for yourself. Don't expect your company or your manager to care about your career, but look out for yourself. Keep up with the industry development. Spend a portion of workday every day about, or as much as possible, on the self-development. That's how you keep up to date. Otherwise, just like companies become history, people will become history and not find the job later, And this one phenomena that is very commonly happens in the technology industry, that is telecommuting or working with people remotely. I personally have moved from Los Angeles to Portland 5 years ago thinking, okay, for a few months I'll work for the same company remotely, then I'll find a job locally. It has been 5 years I've been working with the same company, same people, but remotely. I don't see people much. But I've been able to keep the job even as a manager, managing people, but don't see people on a daily basis. I do go there to office to visit. But not only that, I work with people that are in different time zones at different times, and this is a very common phenomenon that happens in the high-tech industry, or especially in the information technology. The job market is so tight, companies resort to hiring talent in different places because they can't find enough number of people in place where they are, and also for the cost reasons. So it results in projects working with people in different geographic areas and different time zones. Like in the morning, I started at 6:30 because the couple of members on my project are in Dallas, and one member that was supposed to be on the call is in India. So finding time, the common time that's convenient for everyone is a big challenge. Again, it may not happen at the entry level, but as you grow, it does happen, working remotely, working with people in different time zones. So, you get both the pros and cons with this. You get the flexibility, of doing other things, balancing your schedules, but at the same time, you are working in hours that traditionally you wouldn't be working for. Okay, lately, 100% telecommuting is discouraged because it is definitely adding some productivity issues, but part-time telecommuting is encouraged everywhere. I have a small video for, maybe 1-2 minutes we'll watch, and then I'll end it.
We're going to talk about best telecommuting tools. You're not physically located at the office doesn't mean you can't be a productive and present member of the team. These days, working remotely is easier and cheaper than ever. While more companies allow employees to work from home, more online collaboration tools become available. My friend Rail lives in Portland, but he works in an office in San Francisco, and he does it via Skype. When he sits down at his desk in Portland to start work, he video Skypes into the California workstation. His California coworkers always joke that he's a floating head on a screen. But when they need to go talk to him, they go to his desk and sit down to do so. To collaborate with a coworker on screen, Rail uses iChat's screen sharing feature. This means he and his coworker can type and point and click on the same desktop at the same time over the internet. If you don't have a Mac running iChat, Skype also offers a screen sharing feature, as well as a free program called Log Me In. Video conferencing works really well for work-at-homers who are not located at a central office. But if your whole team is far-flung and there is no central office, there are other options. I managed a 6-person editorial team across several time zones and cities using a web application called Campfire, which you can find at campfirenow.com. It's a group chat room that gives you a single URL that you invite your team members to drop in on. It saves transcripts of conversations that happen any time of day, so whoever's not there can catch up on what they missed earlier. If you just need to collaborate on a file, like a spreadsheet, a word processor document, or a slideshow, you don't have to share your whole screen. Google Docs at docs.google.com stores your documents on the web and lets you and your coworkers edit a document at the same time. You can even see their cursors typing while you work. Inside Docs, there's a chat panel so you can discuss while you edit the document, and there are even inline comments. Whether you work remotely every day or only once in a while when you travel, pick the right tools that help you get to the office without actually walking in the door.
As I was playing the video, I was thinking, kids don't need this because they use that every day. I just wanted to show that these are the same tools that you can use for workplace as well. Because I know I'm sure you're all using Hangouts and Google Docs, etc. But these tools are the ones that also give the productivity at workplace, especially when you're telecommuting or working with the remote teams. Yeah, so this is another phenomenon is that IT companies used to do just IT work, but they're making inroads into day-to-day life, like Nest thermostat can be used to control your home heat temperatures, or the leading player in driverless cars is Google. So you can see lots of companies that are getting into other spaces, day-to-day problems, even though they are known to be as IT companies or information technology companies. That actually concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I could answer a few. Thank you. She's getting a mic. Thank you.
You were talking about, continue learning and keeping up with the latest technologies. What do you think is currently, the new technology that people got to be looking out for and learning?
Depends on the space. Obviously, the app development is one that is definitely there, and the web design. And you heard from the previous speaker about graphics, web design that has taken on to the new space about something that looks good in all of the mediums. The same website is accessed on the mobile screen, the personal computer, the tablet, and the TVs too, right? These days you can use TV to browse the websites and access. And the app development, millions and millions of applications are there on the app stores. That is definitely there. And then the security is one more, because as you heard, many more hacks that happened recently. Security space is going to grow a lot. Again, we don't know. Things could be a disruptive innovation could come in tomorrow and change the landscape completely in 2 years. So yeah, it's always important to keep up and learn how to learn than just learning the current skill.
Before you started working in high-tech, did you have other work experience, or when people start their first high-tech job, is it important for them to have work experience outside of high-tech, or just, are you seeing young people show up with a bachelor's degree and that's their qualification, or do they need sort of the bachelor's and office experience?
So let's look at this site, right, that talks about, what are the key skills needed for IT profession? The analytical skills are most important. Analytical problem solving, teamwork, communication skills are the most important. When you walk into a IT interview, if you are a fresh graduate, they're not going to ask you about, app development and C# or C or JavaScript, etc. But they're going to try to see, do you have problem-solving skills? Because the languages and all that, it's today one language, tomorrow a different language. So if you're good in the analytical skills, problem-solving skills, I think you can start with the high-tech industry job, information technology job. That is my first job. Though I worked in, my major is electronics and communications, I started with information technology jobs. Thank you for the time.